Valerie Espinoza, your Santa Fe County Clerk, and I'd like to welcome you back to another edition of our program. Today we're going to focus on the Kitchen Angels, and we have with us Tony McCarthy. He's the Executive Director of Kitchen Angels, and Kelly Hill, the Volunteer Coordinator. I was introduced to Kitchen Angels when I went into one of the local grocery stores, and there I met a couple ladies that were trying to raise money for the cause, and so I asked about it, and they handed me a little flyer, and so I was very interested in learning more about it. And also, we have this TV program for the purpose of, the community. So I was going to say membership, but the viewers would have an idea of what you have to offer. So whoever wants to start first, feel free to tell us what Kitchen Angel does and any upcoming events you may have.
Well, Kitchen Angels was founded in 1992. Actually, we're coming up on our 20th anniversary this June the 1st. Our mission is to prepare and deliver meals to people that are homebound, living with chronic or terminal illnesses. And that's mostly for people who are under 60 years old, but we do provide for seniors with special dietary needs. We do have a Meals on Wheels in town, a Senior Meals on Wheels, and they take care of most of the senior population. But for people who are going through kidney dialysis, or if they've been lifelong vegetarians, for any reason that they have food allergies or special dietary needs, we can consider them for the Kitchen Angels program. So I'll tell you our criteria as well. Folks need to be under 60 normally. I just told you the exception. They have no other means to provide meals for themselves on a consistent basis, and they're homebound. And that means they are confined within the home except for visits to doctor's offices, medical assistance agencies, things of that nature.
We get a lot of questions at some of the meetings that are hosted in the community about, is there a cab service that will take the seniors to certain places? Do you have your own method of transportation, or you don't really transport people to and from their appointments?
No, we don't have anything to do with that. There is something called the Care Cabs. It's a city program, and you have to sign up. You have to be disabled, and folks have to register through the program. And once that's done, it is, I think it's a very reduced fare. And that's how most of our clients actually get to their doctor's appointments.
And that's only from 8 to 5 it's available?
I don't know. That's
a whole different program.
Yeah,
that might be somebody else to put on TV, huh?
Yeah, we have a coterie of volunteers. We have 4 paid staff members that work full-time, a part-time staffer that's paid, and the remainder of the work is done by 280 volunteers each week. That's a different crew of citizens that come in and share their love and talents with people of the community who need their help.
I think it was also on Thanksgiving Day. Did you have workers out in the field helping serve?
Well, we deliver everything to people's homes because our clients are homebound. They don't get out of their house, and they don't have family or friends support system that can help them with their meals. So our volunteers, I'm going to let Kelly talk about the volunteer program, but basically we cook our meals. We do a 3-course meal every day. We do a soup or a salad, an entree with the sides, fresh fruit, or a sugar dessert, depending upon their diet tract. 3 times a week we send out whole grain breads. On Wednesday afternoon we send out whole fresh fruit so that the folks can have a nutritious snack and when they need them. And if people need additional calories in their diet, we send out Ensure as well for those. So our volunteers come in and they pick up this meal, which is about 2 meals worth, one of our bags. And they do that in the afternoon between 4:30 and 6:30. And they deliver it to their home and they visit with people. Because part of the benefit of our program is to relieve the isolation that people feel from being homebound and not seeing regular visitors. So that's an important aspect of the program.
Interesting. So do you drop off that same meal to the same people and you leave it there in the morning, all 3 meals?
Well, let Kelly talk a little bit about the volunteer program.
Sure. A day in the life at Kitchen Angels essentially is groups of volunteers that come in twice a day. So there's a 10 to 12 shift and there's a 1 to 4 shift. And those are the food preparation in the morning is generally fruits, vegetables, prepping for the afternoon crew that does the main entree and then packages meals. And then Once all those meals are packaged, then all of those meals get put into the back area where all of the people who deliver our meals come. There are 15 different routes. There are, so every day a person comes in and picks up their route and delivers it. And generally volunteers will pick one day a week to do that every week. So Mondays, same group of people comes in and delivers meals that day to 5 to 11 different homes. And they do also on Tuesdays, which you didn't mention, they take dog or cat food. So people who have animals also get some food for their animals, which is very appreciated by most people. So that's kind of the day in the life. There's again 2 kitchen shifts and 1 delivery shift, and different things happen throughout the day. Teresa Norton, who's our kitchen manager, makes sure to keep the menu exciting and lively, and it's just remarkable how much dedication there is from people coming in to prepare and deliver meals every day.
How far out into northern New Mexico do you go, or is it just the city Santa Fe?
Well, we deliver mostly in the greater Santa Fe area. We also can go into northern New Mexico and other areas like Highway 14 or up to Espinoza for people who, with our frozen meal program, and that's called our Extended Family Project. And what we do there is when caregivers can come by Kitchen Angels and pick up meals, we do frozen entrees for the weekend for our regular clients. And we use those meals because they travel safely. We can, folks can come by, pick up those meals and deliver them to their clients when they're visiting with them. We had a visiting nurse recently come through and say that there was a great need in Cerrillos, New Mexico, and that's a little outside of our area, regular delivery area. And she was willing to take the meals regularly. And that's the thing, we need to get somebody who's dependable, because we don't want to start feeding someone and then say, oops, we don't have a delivery person. You know, so this woman, I've known her for years. I've been around Kitchen Angels and for about 19 of our 20 years. And I've worked with Lori Sontag, who was a visiting nurse, many of those years. And when she said, I will deliver those meals for you, I knew I could be confident that she would be there every week so that the people would have regular nutrition. I wanted to add about our volunteers. It's a 2-hour commitment once a week. So it's very manageable for most people, especially for the drivers. Can come if you are a full-time employee. You can come after work to pick up the meals, and you can still help out members of the community. And of course, for the people who are retired or don't work for a living, you know, for whatever reason, you can work during the day. And we also have fundraising volunteers. We have 2 major fundraisers each year. One of them is Angels Night Out, and that is a percentage event that wonderful restaurants in Santa Fe open their doors one night a week.
In April?
It's on April the 19th this year. It's a Thursday night. It's always on Thursday. And you make reservations with your family and friends to go out and eat in one of, I think it's going to be 30 restaurants this year, where people really stepped up to the plate. We have 11 new restaurants, including Jumbo, who just won the best soup in the Super Bowl. Can you think of some of the other new restaurants we have this year?
La Fonda, Bishop's Lodge, and Castro's.
Castro's, Los Amigos. We always have Southside Cafe. They've been one of our wonderfuls. And I don't know if a lot of people know that Josh's Barbecue is now the Ranch House. So Josh is in there as well in his beautiful new restaurant. We have long-time restaurants that have been in the event for all 12 years, like Ristra and
New Palace.
Osteria.
What does it mean that if you go have dinner there, all the proceeds go to Kitchen
Well,
Angels,
not all of
or
the
how
proceeds,
does it work?
because we want it to benefit the restaurants as well. So 25% of your bill for that night goes to Kitchen Angels. And it's a win-win situation because we're introduced to new people who become our volunteers and new donors. People have a wonderful meal. We help out the restaurants by filling their restaurant, and they help out our program. Because it costs about $2,000 a year for one person to be on service.
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah,
How do you survive that way?
Yeah. It sounds like a lot of money until you compare it to other things, like an overnight visit, a visit to the emergency room is about $2,000. It's like $1,989. So if we can prevent people from using emergency care, keep them in the comfort and familiarity of their own homes, we've done our job. And that's about 14% of our clients now. If we can, the average hospital stay is $35,000. So if we can prevent people through good nutrition to remain healthy enough to use their regular physicians, that's a benefit to the entire community.
Well, this is a perfect opportunity to gain volunteers, but also maybe you can have people, call you up and apply for the program. How does that happen? I mean,
sure. People can call directly to Kitchen Angels, which is 471-7780. You can also find information on the website, which is kitchenangels.org. Which tells all about our program, the different opportunities to volunteer, the different special events that we have, and what the guidelines are to be a client. And you're welcome to call or send an email, whichever way. You're also welcome to drop by. It's at 2212 Seiler Road, which is essentially between Cerrillos and Agua Fria, right on Seiler Road. So any of those ways that you'd like to contact us, we're happy to let you know more about the program, either as a client or if you'd like to volunteer. We do have orientations twice a month. They're usually on Wednesdays. So the one in the beginning of the month is usually 11 to 12:30, and the one towards the end of the month is usually 3 to 4:30. So those are the opportunities. The orientation is about an hour and a half. It goes through an overview of Kitchen Angels, how it came to be, a bit of the history of the great building that we're in and the people dedicated to making that happen, and then an overview of the different shifts you can be part of, and then some kitchen training if that's what you're most interested in, knife skills, and a thorough go over the kitchen and everything else about the building. So
I would imagine you get to be close to your clients. I don't know if you go out in the field, but the volunteers probably get close to their clients, and then if they are terminally ill, then that becomes a real hard thing for you all.
It does. We hear heartwarming stories about our volunteers and their interaction with their clients. The one that comes to mind is one of our clients who needed I think it was a kidney transplant, and he had to do an evaluation in Denver. That was for some reason. When his regular Wednesday volunteer found out that he needed to do that, the volunteer actually drove him to Denver, put him up overnight in the hotel, made sure he got into his appointment, and then he brought him back home. And it's just like,
yes,
that's what we're about. It's about finding out what is wanted and needed and fulfilling a need. You mentioned our president earlier before we started filming, and we have a lunch program that we're providing to the Open Hands Senior Daycare Center. And our president, Stephanie, is also a yoga master. And she went in and she saw that the people would probably benefit from a little activity, a little movement, to keep their muscles.
I tried that, and it does work. It clears your mind from everything else going on.
Exactly. So it's become a popular program there, and it's just because Stephanie looked out and she saw that there was a benefit to be gained from her personal talent that she could share with people. So she's been doing that for about a month, and she has a good response rate from their clients. Outstanding.
I know you mentioned something about the Food Policy Council.
The city of Santa Fe and county have Food Policy Council is about, I think we're starting our 4th year in operation, and I'm a county appointee to the council. It's a group of people who are concerned with every aspect of the food system. We're looking around, how to make the rules more accountable and more accessible to provide healthy, nutritious food to the population. I know that you've just finished in the county the plan for the next 20 years, and part of what we're working on now is to get the right language in the regulations so that we can ensure that farmers are able to operate in Santa Fe County.
Did you just recently have a meeting in Abiquiu, I think? Is that the...
There was probably there's a state food policy council as well, and we work closely with them. Some of our members are members of the New Mexico Food Policy Council. So we're doing a food assessment for Santa Fe County to find out where people buy their groceries, how they buy them, where the stores are located, and if we need to suggest to people how and where to put in affordable food operations, because some parts of the state, there are not very good, there's not very good access to food, so fresh
And then there's
foods.
some of us that just don't really eat right anyway,
Well, that's a different issue entirely.
Yeah.
But we're trying to make sure that people are aware of the issues with food. There have been, over the past few years across the country, a few outbreaks that were not so good for the population. People, in the worst cases, died because their food system wasn't safe. And so that is our aim, to make sure that Santa Fe has an emergency food system. Back a few years when it snowed, in 3 days, our stores were depleted of product. So we've got to make sure.
So was the energy supply.
Yeah, the food and the energy supply, exactly. So our little niche in that is going to be making sure that we have a good, safe, dependable food supply.
I remember also wanting to hear more when I ran into the two women that were promoting this organization, because I was raised by my grandmother, but when she got older, it was up to the family members to take care of her. So there were really never any programs in northern Santa Fe County, let's say the Santa Cruz area, that would have helped with this sort of. Do you know if there are any now? And that's why I also thought it would be a good idea to expose. Although you've been around 20 years, I would have never known that. I just thought it was a great thing, and so I didn't realize how long you'd been out there. But again, there's so many people that don't know that there are services available to help them, and they're, when they need it most. Mm-hmm. There were never any such programs, let's say 10 years ago, especially in northern Santa Fe County, when it would have helped me, because I have to go to work, then come back, or
Sure.
have somebody stay with her during the day, and this was an ongoing process for a very long time.
Yeah, caregiving is the hardest job in the world, and people don't think of that until they're in the position of having to provide the care, because it's 24 hours.
So do you have indeed programs that would go all the way? You said you pretty much go into 14, but never really into northern New Mexico or past Pewaukee.
Well, we have. Well, actually, we have. We've had clients as far as Mora, and we also provide meals for people through the Cancer Institute. Here in town, when they come in for their treatments, they have to stay in a hotel, and so after their treatments, they really don't feel like, even if they can afford it, going out to eat. So, or bringing food in and preparing things. So we have a program also that our drivers bring over the food when they stay in a hotel.
Interesting. I know somebody who was just diagnosed with fourth stage lung cancer, and he's probably about 48, and so I know he's needing money for gas and to help them.
Right.
But I didn't realize. Okay, so there's something else that with the Cancer Institute that you just mentioned.
Yeah.
Can you tell
The
me
Cancer Institute Foundation, basically they pay for people who can't afford it to come into town and they pay for their cancer treatments, they pay for their stay while they're here. And they needed a way for the people to eat while they were here. And they usually come Monday through Thursday, so they're on our program while they are in town. And that's how we can, basically get a little bit more outreach to outlying areas. But the beauty of Kitchen Angels is any community can start one. Basically most of the programs like Kitchen Angels started in a church kitchen with a few determined people who wanted to make a difference for the folks in their community. So all you need is a few good people, a facility to do it, and then some volunteers to help you deliver the meals. So, and we're more than willing to help people with the process of how you get started up. Actually, we have a startup manual that was produced by an agency in California. So anybody's welcome to give us a call. Again, I'll tell you the number, 471-7780, and the area code is 505.
Your phone's going to start ringing.
Well, I hope so.
You met-
Because this is something that any community can do for their neighbors. And that's the beauty of Kitchen Angels. You know, we're volunteer driven. You know, we're
Nonprofit.
we're a nonprofit, a 501c3. So your donations are tax deductible to the extent allowable by the IRS law.
You mentioned a fundraiser in April on the 19th, and then you said there were a couple others.
Yeah, we do from June until November a thing called Adventures a la carte. And what those are, they're smaller. Our board got tired of doing the big gala for 200 people on New Year's Eve. You know, it was hard to do and the weather was unpredictable. So we looked around to determine what we could do and make the same amount of money or more. And what we came up with was unique access to places that folks don't usually get to go by themselves. And so they're usually groups of about 20 or 30 people. This year we're doing one out at the Allen Hauser property in Galisteo. It's going to be wonderful. Lois Ellen Frank, who is a Native American food historian and expert, is going to provide the food for us. It's going to be a really special day.
What's the cost on those?
There's a range from $50 to, I think the highest priced one is $150. It determines what is on the plan for the day. We have a bird watching event through Diablo Canyon this year, and that's on the lower end of the scale. But it always comes with food because we want people to, as you said, we may not eat well, but we always have really delicious, nutritious food on that's good for you, but also tastes wonderful. We'll do a picnic on the bird watch, and it's in the afternoon. And you know, from that end of the spectrum to the the multi-course sit-down dinner. So there are lots of interesting things going on with that. You'll have to check them out on our website at kitchenangels.org because we're just now setting the dates for most of those. There are about 10 events, one or two a month through the summer months.
Now on your website, do you have your cooking class schedule? Because some of us also need to learn how to cook.
Well, you're talking about the local organic Meals on the Budget program. And that's actually a collaboration among Kitchen Angels, the Santa Fe Farmers Market Institute, and Homegrown New Mexico. We were talking one day in my office, and it was just as some of the genetically modified food news was coming down the pike, and we were all concerned that people should eat better so they can promote their health a little better. And also you have to add the affordability because of all the things that are going on in the economy. So last year we produced 16 cooking classes with different chefs from Santa Fe and environs. One of them was Lois Ellen Frank. Let's see, we also had Kathy Cagle in the season. She is Pasquale's downtown, who has a fantastic restaurant, who's also an Angels Night Out.
Nice.
But basically wanted to educate people about how they could shop from local farmers markets, and make affordable food for their families. So we're still working the kinks out, but basically we had some great recipes presented. We even did preserving. This year we'll also have canning and preservation and pickling classes. So it's also with an eye to the emergency food
supply.
Emergency food supply for yourself. I grew up, my mom and aunts and everybody had their kitchen gardens, and we preserved stuff for the winter. So, no matter what happened, we always had food to feed our families, and that was something that we got away with when processing plants and canning and freezing foods got to the point where it is now and so much more accessible. So.
Well, I wonder how many people actually still can. I mean, growing up in northern New Mexico, all my relatives did, and now I never learned, so it might be.
So come to the class. You're going to have to check out another website. It's localorganicmeals.com for the schedule, and they will probably start in May, and they run through November, 2 a month.
You're giving me a lot of ideas. You know, you talked
Well, I
about
hope so.
the homegrown New Mexico, the farmers market, and I know they have their winter's farmer market. That's still a good place to buy
Homegrown
and
New
shop.
Mexico promotes home farming, and they also promote community gardens. Actually, we have a grant out now that will benefit Kitchen Angels. The Homegrown New Mexico program will, if we get funded for this, it's over off of Camino Carlos Rey neighborhood. And they will have a community garden where 20 families will have plots, and one of the rows will be dedicated to Kitchen Angels. So the local neighbors will actually bring the food over to Kitchen Angels, and we'll prepare it and send it out for our clients.
It seems like you have a well-oiled organization there. And how many people do you serve, do you think, per day?
129 on average. Last year we served a total of 331 people. Not everybody stays on year-round. Some people come on service and go off. For example, folks with multiple sclerosis, the disease is such is that they go along and then they have an incident, I forget what they're called, but then they plateau again. They never get better, but they have times when they can take care of themselves. So once you're signed up for Kitchen Angels, it's a process of calling us and saying, you know, I'm doing okay now. I need to go off service, and when they're not doing so well, they can give us a call and get back on.
I'm amazed to hear that you also provide dog food for their pets. That is the...
Well, one of our board members was also on the board of the
Sweetest thing.
animal shelter, and when the economic crash happened, they were getting so many pets returned because people couldn't afford to feed them. And so he called me and asked how our clients got pet food. And I said, you know, I don't know, but we'll find out. And we had a big response of people who actually wanted pet food delivered to them. So we started that program. The animal shelter repackages the food and brings it over, and we deliver it with our regular meal on Tuesdays.
Interesting. Well, this has been very beneficial. We have a couple minutes left, and I'd like to hear more, if you could, about, you know, how people can become involved, or you know, where your facility, I think you mentioned the addresses, if people want to come by and tour the facility.
Sure, absolutely. Again, the address is 1222 Siler Road, and that's essentially between Agua Fria and Cerrillos. The phone number is 505-471-7780, and the website is kitchenangels.org. And any of those ways that you'd like to contact us, you're welcome to do so. Again, we do orientations twice a month generally, but if you were to drop by the facility, anybody there in the office would be happy to give you a tour of the facility and let you see how it all works. It's exciting. There's generally people there all day, and we're happy to show you around and get you involved.
Great. Well, maybe someday I can stop by.
Excellent.
And
Please do.
see
We'll put you on
and
an
try to
apron and get you
help.
chopping.
Oh, God, I can chop, but I can't cook. Remember that.
Well, that's the beauty of it. You don't have to be a wonderful cook, because there are activities for every level of activity. You know, from washing dishes to making the souffle. Well, we don't serve souffle, but we serve desserts, you know, cakes and things like that.
Well, how very fascinating. This is amazing. I'm glad that you took the time to come here, and I hope that you generate more, you know, calls and volunteers and maybe even clients or customers from this great program. And it's been on for 20 years.
20 years, and hopefully we'll be around as long as people need us.
And you never have reached a point where, you know, it becomes a struggle, or you sustain yourself?
Oh, yeah. There have been a few times with a struggle, but, you know, mostly the people of Santa Fe come through with their gifts to our program to support our clients, and also with their gifts of talent to support our meals.
Well, congratulations, and thank you for being here.
Thanks for having us.
If you'd like to appear on our program, please give me a call at 986-6280. Thank you.